Welcome to another exciting edition to Grove City Hockey Presents
Hockey in our neck of the woods, and you, sir, were a very talked about person towards the end.
I'm a fifth-year senior, kind of. Well, it's my sixth year of college. Incredible.
Hey guys, we want to say thank you to our sponsor, Cut Shield, for bringing you this episode. Make sure you check them out on the link below and use the promo code for 25% off your order. Used by all 32 NHL teams and players, Cut Shield is the premier protective player clothing designed by players for players. Their innovative cut-resistant clothing has prevented serious injury to numerous players, including over 30 NHL players. Cut Shield gives you the peace of mind to go out and play without worrying about injury. Use our promo code Grove City Hockey, all lowercase and no space, for an additional 25% off your order today. Welcome to GCH Podcast. I'm your host, Ben W. Stock. With me is a very special guest. I've got Narch Pro, State Wars Pro, an all-around pro inline guy, Ryan Marker. How you doing, Ryan?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Oh, living the dream, buddy. Living the dream. So right now, we're not going to have Ryan on as a video because Ryan is driving why don't you tell us where you're going to, bud?
So right now, I'm actually going to a family party down at the Jersey Shore, and
Okay.
because I'm from like towards like the Philadelphia area, like 10 minutes outside of Philly, on the Jersey side. So it's like an hour and a half drive down to the Jersey Shore, and we have this like family party every year, like around like the Halloween time, like get like all like the kids, cousins, everyone together. And so that's where I'm heading right now.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. That's it's always good when you can get back to hanging out with family, especially after you were just in Nashville last weekend, right?
Yeah, I was in Nashville. I was playing in a State Wars event called the Nashty Cup. It's a good tournament, it's a good getaway for people to play some good hockey and obviously have a great time, because Nashville's a great city for that.
Yeah, and it's really starting to become an up and coming tournament spot that I've noticed. I've and the facility is is top notch by the sounds of it, right?
Yeah, I would compare it to almost kind of like the Irvine rinks. You know how like
Okay.
they have the two outdoor rinks and stuff like that. It's kind of like a newer version of that kind of. It's honestly, it's awesome. The weather's beautiful, and now the facility is definitely top notch. They have the still mat flooring on both rinks, and the rinks are like, honestly, I'm not sure the exact size of the rinks, but I'm pretty sure they almost feel like two full-size ice hockey sheets. So the rink is very, very big too.
Yeah, it's always a challenge for the inline guys when they're going from when they're used to a smaller rink where it only takes them like 5 or 6 steps to get from one end to the other end, because inline the size of the rink really doesn't matter a whole lot. I know overseas when you play there, they have the Italians have a different size rink than the Spanish. The Spanish have a different size league or rink than the French. And then when you go to Africa, they use majority of their rinks are almost Olympic size now, or they're full NHL size rinks. I know when I was coaching over there, the rink I was at was one of the smallest rinks I'd seen in a long time, but they were expanding, and now it's a full NHL sized rink, and it's incredible to see that everything is now enclosed, everything's being played indoors. So it's really nice to see the growth of the sport over there happening, and then of course here when you have the different size rinks in different locales, because I know in the Midwest in Michigan, you tend to see more full NHL sized rinks. And then when you go out west, you see a slightly smaller, but not much smaller. I mean, we're talking like maybe 2 to 3 foot difference, and that's about it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like the size of the rinks, like the way the rinks are like the way the way the game is played between here, over in Europe, South America, and stuff like that. Like the differences are definitely crazy. Because I've been fortunate to play on Team USA a few times, so I've I got to play in the French league a little bit, and I'm actually signed to go play in the French league this year. So I'm going to be heading over there in a little bit, to play some games and stuff like that, and to qualify for like the French Cup and obviously for playoffs over there and stuff like that. But yeah, like the rinks are all different around the world. Like you said, like the size is like in Europe, like you never know what type of floor you could be playing on. Like one day you could be playing on like the nicest facility, and then like the next week you can be playing on like a wooden floor. Like
Yep.
like
Yeah.
the rinks are just different, and like and some of the rinks over there are like how like our boards in America are like obviously all of our rinks, whether it's ice or roller, they're
Yep.
like rounded. They're like rounded, all the way around. Like some rinks in Europe, like they're like square. Like it's almost like you're playing in like a box.
Yeah, no, that was the other thing that I was going to mention too. Is like, yeah, the corners are different. They're almost like um, the roundness going in from one corner to the other corner could be almost oval shape here in the United States, but whereas, as you said, in the other countries, it's almost like a 90-degree turn on some of them, and you're just like, with like just a little bit of a rotation, a little bit of a curvature in that corner. And they try to keep it as wide as possible. But I also noticed that the goalie pipes are thicker on the outside versus ours. We would use like a 2-inch pipe. They use, I think, a 3.5-inch pipe. At some point, you know what I mean, on some of them, and with the international size goals, they're a little bit smaller, almost like I almost want to say almost 3 to 4 inches shorter on all sides. So that makes the goalie that much bigger, and it makes it tough for the scorers to really put the puck in the net. And you really have to play, a puck possession type of style. Whereas our U.S. style of the run and gun, it makes it almost like moot. Like you can't really run that style unless you have 4 or 5 guys that have really good accuracy and that can put the pucks in those corners.
Yeah, I'm not sure the exact dimensions of the net, but I'm pretty sure. I thought I heard a rumor that it's 6 inches shorter and 6 inches like narrower.
Yeah.
So like it's pretty crazy, when you're coming down, especially if you're playing like a really good like world class goalie on like a net like that. It's almost impossible to pick a corner. So you got to be really accurate.
Yeah, you really got to have that those couple of decoys to really move that goaltender out of position, because positioning is key in that aspect of it. So let's jump back into the National Cup. So how did you guys do in Nashville this past weekend? It sounded like you guys did fairly well. I didn't get a chance to look at too much of it. I did have a couple of buddies playing there as well. And I know one of them won the one division. He won his, but then they came in like third or fourth in the second one.
So we went out there with a good squad, but we only had like 5 or 6 skaters. So we ended up making it to the finals, and we went undefeated the whole tournament and made it to the finals. Went into overtime in the finals and ended up losing to the Border Cats, the Detroit Border Cats, who had a good team, but they just overall had more likes than us. They had like double the amount of guys.
Yeah.
So we ran out of gas at the end, but
it's tough. It's tough when you have a team that has 12 skaters and you're only rolling 5.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
You know.
Especially when you get to the end of games and stuff like that. Like when you're in an overtime type of game, having them extra likes matters.
Yeah. So, so Ryan, why don't you tell us a little bit about you? How did you get involved in roller hockey? Did you start out as an ice hockey guy and then kind of worked your way into roller, or did you just always preferred roller? Give us a little bit of background for those that don't know much about you.
So yeah, when I was younger, I actually started out in roller hockey, and then I went. I played roller when I was like 3 or 4 years old, and then I went and played ice, but I always played roller while playing ice too. But yeah, growing up, I always preferred roller. I don't know. I mean, I got to play like some semi-professional ice hockey and stuff like that. Like I had a good career in ice, but like I always, at the end of the day, preferred roller. And I don't know. I've always loved the style of game better. I always loved like the community better. I just felt like it's like roller hockey is like one of them small communities where like everybody knows everybody,
Mm-hmm.
and and going to these events, it's like like it's almost like everyone's a family. Like you get to see everyone after not seeing people for like a half a year and stuff like that. And I've just always enjoyed the roller hockey community. It's and I just don't think there's anything better than it. Like I enjoy going to festivals, events, whatever tournaments there are, and obviously getting to represent Team USA is obviously always been my favorite thing to do in this sport. I've been fortunate enough to do it 3 or 4 times, so I'm hoping to make it a few more times in the future. But there's obviously tons of great players in obviously the country. We have some of the best players in the world on that represent Team USA. So
yeah, and then you've got because then you've got the legends, the veterans, and the masters divisions all starting to come in. You're still a bit young, but you're encroaching that 30 plus division, and it's going to be it'll be pretty cool to see how Team USA is going to be represented once you younger guys are starting to break out. And like you said, Team USA has always had some of the best inline hockey players. It's very similar. I would equate inline hockey and basketball. Are very similar in the mentality. As the way the gameplay is styled up.
absolutely.
Yeah, you just have like one other person. I was when I was in Africa, and I didn't even put the two and two together. And it was Chris Weaver. Is the president of the Southwest African or World Wildlife Federation down there, and he was explaining it to me, and because his dad was the one of like a defensive coordinator for the San Diego Chargers when San Diego took on Miami Dolphins in the 70s in that what's considered like the world's best Super Bowl. And so he was comparing basketball and how basketball and inline hockey, the mentality of the plays that you run, the plays that you design are all similar.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like in roller hockey, we use like how like basketball, like like they set like pick plays and stuff like that. Like we do that in roller hockey all the time. I mean, you're really not supposed to. You can't just flat out like set a pick and like run into somebody, but like you could slow them down by using like a pick type of motion and stuff like that. So like I mean, we incorporate that in the roller hockey all the time.
Yeah, and for those that don't know, that's when you see like the one quarterback, like is what I call the quarterback, setting up behind the net. You get your breakout plays, and then everybody is just going, okay, we're going to do our set design play to see if we can't create some opportunities here to put that puck in the back of the net.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah. So you've always loved roller. You did fairly well in the in your semi-pro career. When did you transition from competitive inline to the pro inline scene. I think it was 2016 was your first year.
Yeah, 2016 was my first year playing in tours or state wars. I forget which one I did first. Yeah, well, regardless, 2016 was my first summer, so
Yeah.
that was my first like pro circuit. Yeah, so yeah, that was
Yeah,
my first time.
Yeah, it was 2016 with the Tour Roadrunners, and
Yep.
it was for State Wars. Just the regular season. I didn't check the playoffs. You had your 4 games, but you had 2 goals, so you were a half a point a game in those 4 games. So, which is pretty impressive considering it was your debut. At that level, and that's pretty tough. Some guys they tend to be a little bit of a deer in headlights at times when it comes to when it's time to step up in that situation.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It was obviously stepping up from like the D1 and junior level. Like pro's a whole different game because now you're playing against men, not just guys your age. So
Right.
so that step up is definitely big.
Yeah. So, and then you played this past roller season too, right? You were with I want to say you were with Rinkrat, right?
Yep.
How'd that go for you guys?
It went well. I mean, for state wars, we didn't make the playoffs. I think we were like one spot out, but I did personally, I did very, very well. But at the end of the day, all that really matters is, the team aspect of it. And obviously, I feel like we underachieved a little bit for the roster we had, but it was one of them things. We had a lot of talent, but we didn't have like too much chemistry. So I feel like by the time we get like a few more tournaments under our belt coming through next summer, I think we'll be a way different team.
Well, cool. I'm really looking forward to seeing that and how that turns out. So what is like a couple of your favorite roller hockey memories? Especially from this past season, but like what's the one like hockey memory that I always ask this question, but like what's the one hockey memory that absolutely made you fall in love with the sport of hockey?
So are you saying like a personal memory?
Yeah, so like one of the one that I've talked about on the pod a lot is my very first time going to a hockey game. It was in Kalamazoo, Michigan, with the Kalamazoo K Wings at that time. Now they're the Kalamazoo Wings, and it was a Colorado something for I can't think of the IHL team at that time. My grandfather and my uncle took me, and I'm standing next to my uncle watching the players warm up, and all of a sudden, this puck just comes flying out of the rink and right towards my uncle. And my uncle is a really good baseball player, and he catches it barehanded in midair, and it like just smacked his hand, and he handed me the puck. And ever since then, I've been hooked with hockey. And like that was the memory that just blew me away. I come to find out later that he had been pointing at me, asking the player to toss him the puck. And I just thought it just happened to be one of those random pucks that just kind of came out of nowhere. And so that's one of the best memories that I've had as far as that from being a young kid, not knowing anything about hockey, just attending it for the first time. And then another time is when I'm playing with Etan in Chicago. It's the first time I played with anybody of that type of caliber outside of a couple of the guys that were on my team.
Yeah.
And he had everybody he was behind the net. I'm in front, back door. He gets everybody gets 3 players to jump on him. He makes the pass to me, and then I bury it. And that to me will always be another great memory for me. because I'm like, hey, I just scored before Etan did.
Yeah, Eton is very very good buddy of mine. I played
Yeah.
with him on a few different teams, and he's to be honest with you, when I was younger, he was always like someone that I looked up to play, looked up to in the game, and I'll never forget, being able to like, I think it was like a winter tournament, in Huntington Beach. I got to be on his team, and I thought it was like the coolest thing because like I don't know, I just when I was younger, I always watched videos of him. Like I'll never forget that Reebok commercial that he did. Like
Yeah, where
you
he's
know
jumping off the boards.
exactly. I will
Yeah,
never forget watching it. And I was like, you know what? I got to watch tons of highlights of him. Back on with the old Palma Cyclone days,
yeah,
and
yeah.
he was just so dominant. And I was like, the fact that I get to play with this guy is unbelievable. And I actually got to play on his line the whole weekend, which was
Yeah.
unbelievable. So
Yeah, it was the same thing for me, and he actually came and joined us. I want to say it was like 3 weeks after all of that stuff dropped from those Reebok commercials. So we were all like the whole team was just stoked to have him participate with us, and then I actually did an interview with Etan that I'm currently editing up, and that'll be dropping here in the next couple of weeks as well.
yeah, he's for sure one of the icons in our sport. So I'll be looking forward to listening to that episode.
Yeah. Yeah. So now, but yeah, so give me one of those memories that really said, you know what, this is going to be the true sport for me. Cause I'm sure you played other sports, everybody's played a little bit of baseball, a little bit of soccer, a little bit of football,
Yeah.
at some point. So what really drew you to the sport of hockey, to be honest?
So to be honest with you, I was kind of brought into it by like family because my dad and my brother played at high levels.
Mhm.
So, I mean, obviously growing up, because my brother was like 12 years older than me. So growing up watching him play obviously got my attention. And, that's what made me really want to play and obviously keep pursuing like the play at higher levels and stuff like that. So, I mean, I would say obviously going to his games and stuff when I was younger, really, really like got me like into the game like more and more and more and like, wanted me to keep going. So I would say a lot of my brother had a lot to do with that.
Okay, cool. So now, so all right, I'm gonna pause a second, change gears here a little bit. So now you're getting ready to fly over to France. Can you say who you're going to be playing for?
Oh yeah. I'm playing for a team called Vierzon over there.
Okay.
Yeah, so I signed with them back in July. So so the whole reason why I haven't went over there yet is because me and my wife and I just found out, that we're expecting a baby coming next year. So I had to pause a little bit of plans for a couple months.
Well, congratulations. That is and it's an exciting journey. I will tell you that. I have an 8-week-old, and she'll be 9 weeks old on Tuesday, and it's a journey that you are nervous to take, but it's a journey that you will absolutely love every step of the way.
Oh yeah, I heard. I've talked to a few people about it and stuff like that. They said yeah, like like your thought process and your life changes overnight. That's for sure. When it happens, you switch gears a little bit, and now you realize, oh well, I have a child, a child's life that I have to take care of, and you kind of like make that more your priority for sure.
Well, and another thing you'll do is that now that when something doesn't feel right or sit right, you go get checked out,
Oh
because
yeah.
that's one of those things where it's like when you're single, you only have to worry about yourself. It's like it's fine, it's nothing. Nothing's gonna you know it's not gonna make any difference if it's probably just a muscle strain, or something like that. But now any type of issue, you're like, I'm gonna go get this checked out just to be sure that I'm gonna still be around to watch my kids walk down the graduation line, and to attend their weddings and all their major important milestones and stuff like that. So
Oh, absolutely. Yep.
I love it. So now you're going to be in France, and then are you coming back to do for your roller season next year? Are you going to be sticking with the rink rat, or are you going to be floating with another team?
So I would say right now for the next summer, I mean, I'm definitely going to be playing, but who I'm playing for is up in the air.
Okay.
I still might be with I still call them Rink Rat. They're called Rinkster
Yeah.
now, but I
Rinkster,
still
yeah.
might be with Rinkster. But I would say it's 50-50 on whether I'm going to be with them or roll with somebody else. It's kind of up in the air because I guess it all depends on who comes back. If the core guys come back, obviously, I'll stay. But if the core guys are like leaving and everyone's going different places, I'll start maybe seeing what other options I have.
Yeah. Well, that, and then the babe's also going to dictate as well.
Oh
You know,
yeah, for sure.
I was one of those things where when I signed up to do another season of Grove City, and then my fiance had told me that we're expecting. I'm like, all right, boys, I'm not going to be able to make any of the tournaments this year, but I'll run the podcast as usual, because I
Yep.
can do that. I can do that remotely, and I actually really enjoy running this pod and getting the interviews set up and lined up, and even though it took us a minute to get you on. I'm glad that we were able to make it happen.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That's going to do it for this episode with Ryan Marker and myself, Ben W. Stock. Thanks for tuning in to Grove City Hockey Podcast. We will catch you guys on the flip side.